we've got our fairy podfather, Brian Howie, our game Bibbidy Bobbidy Boo, and the Belong app today on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating in the city.
We're really feeling it today. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Jen. And today our drink of the day is the Great Love TEAbate. I don't know why I air quoted that, but this is a combination of a little iced green tea for our guest because that's his favorite.
The most green tea I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's like the gas station size.
Could you imagine if you drank this, you would be up for 400 days?
I don't know that that would be the case for me, but I would be peeing a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a true thing. But anyway, so this is going to be a mix of our guest's favorite beverage, which is green tea, and our favorite beverage, which is vodka. Because it's all shaken and stirred around like the singles at Brian Howie's Great Love TEAbate live shows, guys.
That's
so
right.
Cheers to this charming mixed drink that we've concocted.
Oh, my God, I'm scared.
Oh, I chihuahua is what I would like to say.
I know. Oh, God. Okay, well, you guys, today, like we said, we have our fairy podfather, Brian Howie, in the studio. And this is obviously, if you've watched our show, like the 800th time Brian's been in here, but really it's like the 4th. So, for some of you who don't know or need a refresher, Brian is the creator of Great Love Media, a brand new podcast network that features podcasts hosted by Academy Award-winning actress Tatum O'Neal, legendary TV personality Pat O'Brien, actress and comedian Krista Allen, leading relationship blogger James Michael Sama, who we had on a few weeks ago, best-selling author Dr. Mark Goulston, top dating coach Christina Weber, and us!
These guys right here, guys.
Yeah.
Also, we've had a lot of those people we just named on our show.
We have, too.
Like we said, they are relationship people as well. So it's great to learn from each other, and everyone has something different to say or a different... Watch out there. It's early. Different expertise. So it's a great mix of people with great lineup of shows, and you can learn something different from each one or hear us on theirs and them on ours and all that jazz. So Brian, though, is America's #1 dating enthusiast. I don't know if you can tell by the network he created, which is all about dating and relationships.
And also because he's super enthusiastic.
Yes, that too. I wore pink just so he wouldn't enthusiastically tell me I was wearing the wrong color.
Why. Yeah, well, I obviously didn't listen.
Well, you're in a relationship. It's okay. I'm still up
so
for.
I can just give up.
You know, you don't get picked on as much.
Yeah, that's true.
There's so many things to tell me I'm not doing right.
That's true.
Or I am. Like wearing pink. So anyway, he is an award-winning director, producer, and the author of How to Find Love in 60 Seconds. He's also the creator of the groundbreaking #1 off-Broadway sensation Pieces.
I mean, who knew?
Who knew? I mean, well, we knew because we've talked to him so many times. But you might not have. He's also, that show was sold out for all the times.
Yeah.
And he's also done some of... Fox, ABC, CNN, NBC, Entertainment Weekly, the LA Times, the New Yorker. Okay, all the things. He's been everywhere.
Yahoo, yeah.
He's all the places, which is why he's the #1 dating enthusiast.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got to be in all the places.
All of the places.
So, guys, he's inspiring thousands of people worldwide to make positive change in their lives and take ownership of their personal growth, dating, fate, and long-term happiness.
That's right. And based on the national touring series of the live shows, The Great Love TEAbate, Brian is joined each week in the studio by celebrity guests for his podcast and the world's most dynamic voices on love and relationships and dating. And like we said, that is the Great Love TEAbate podcast, which is the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast now. So
damn.
Taking over the world, Brian.
Yeah. Can we be #2 at least?
Maybe.
Let's get us to #2, guys.
If he's on our show, does that make us #2?
I think so.
I think it does.
Just by association and stuff and numbers.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so like we mentioned, Brian now has the Great Love Media Network, and it's where all of his little relationship experts Cinderellas can talk about dating and try and find the answer to why is everyone still single?
That is the long question that will always forever try to be answered by shows like us and other shows on Great Love Media. And the motto of Great Love Media is each the best, together even better. And this is regarding the hosts and the shows that are on Brian's network. And he is really thrilled to have assembled such an extraordinary and dynamic collection of voices and personalities that will entertain and enlighten and engage audiences around the world. So if you want to be part of the enlightened, then you need to listen to Great Love Media shows.
Because they happen every week. There's a new release for each show every week.
Yes.
And the entire lineup can be found and subscribed to on iTunes and all the places you get podcasts, guys. This is not that hard. Subscribe right now. Tell a friend, do that whole thing that we tell you to do.
Yeah.
And today we're going to pick Brian's brain and probably debate,
I'm sure. Hello.
about all things dating and relationships.
We'll get into something with him as we normally do.
Sure will.
Is that a hair on the vodka? It sure
At least
is.
it's on the vodka and not in the vodka.
I mean, gross. It just looks gross. And there we go.
You brought it,
Okay.
so.
All right. So now, before we get Brian in here, we are going to fill you in on our air our dirty laundry and fill you into what we've been up to over the past week. My mom was in town, but it's more like grandma when she's in town because my boyfriend's daughter wants to be around her and stuff. It's a nice dynamic because my boyfriend's daughter calls her Mimi. And my mother's husband has 2 daughters, and they have kids, and they call her Mimi. So it's kind of cute. And when we're all out together, it sort of reminds me of when I would hang out with my mom and my gram, and we would go shopping and do stuff like that, which is what we did. So it was fun. And I took my boyfriend's daughter to birthday parties. She had like 2 birthday parties in one day, and it was like, we went school shopping, and then we went to lunch, and then to meet friends for lunch that has a kid, and then we went to the birthday parties, and it was like, it was like a day like that where it feels like real life. And it's sort of, I used to nanny for a living for a really long time, and I would think when I would be doing these things, like taking a kid to pick something up from the store, then taking them to a birthday party or to hang out with a friend, like when am I going to get to do this for myself? And it's nice to have my boyfriend's daughter around because she allows that fun part of my life to happen quicker than it would normally because I don't have a child yet. So I would have to wait, but it's like kind of instantly there, which is great.
Well, and you can talk to her. She's not like a baby.
No, she's not like a blob. Exactly. It's like
blob.
yeah. Well, that's what babies are until.
I call them potatoes.
Or a blobby potato. And the solar eclipse happened, you guys. So I went to my boyfriend's daughter's school and we watched it with their special NASA glasses because how else do you get them? And so we're like, well, let's just go there. And then we watched it together. And I looked up that, like with a new moon and things like that, the solar eclipse is about new beginnings. A lunar eclipse is about closing a door. So I told her, do you know that you can look, I sort of called it like make a wish because I'm not going to be like, put your energy out there. So I said, if you look up at the sun with your glasses, you can, it's about new beginnings and you can make a wish about what you want to happen. And she was like, okay. And then she's like, I'm doing it. Are you? And I was like, yes. And then it was cute. So
that is really cute.
Yeah.
I put into the universe that I was going to win the lottery.
And somebody in my boyfriend's, 15 minutes from my boyfriend's hometown won it.
Yeah. And I hope that they are deserving of it and they're going to do nice things with that very, very large chunk of money. But my heart is broken because I was very sure it was going to be me. I even mapped out who was getting what. I did write, you were in there, obviously.
Oh my God, that's so nice.
And so I
feel like I gave you $20.
or 20 million because it was $700 million pots. Like, what was I going to do with all that money? So
that's very nice.
I know certain people got houses. Like, you get a house, and you get a house, you get $1 million, you get a this. Like, I had really I could show you. I designated like what I was going to give to different people. Like, I was convinced I was going to win.
That's nice. That's
okay,
good.
I didn't, so that is rude. And broke my heart.
But maybe you are going. Maybe there's a reason why you wrote that out because maybe it's coming to you and not from the lottery, and you still need to have a plan.
Sure, good. I like that thinking.
See?
I also did grow a new addiction, and it's buying lottery tickets.
A new addiction?
Oh, yeah.
That goes with what other ones that you already have? Drinking, alcohol, and...
Yeah. I don't know. What are my other ones?
I would say dating. Is that an addiction?
I don't know. I want it not to be.
I know, but it's like an addiction because you like hate it, but you love it at the same time.
I have to like keep doing it. So I'm like, well, now I obviously have to keep getting lottery tickets.
Yes,
so
you
this
do.
morning I got another lottery ticket.
my God.
Even though Powerball is now 40 million, but I'm like, it's still 40 million.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sure, it's not 700. Maybe I wasn't meant to have that because it would make me a bad person, or someone
Yeah.
would try and kill me or something, or I'd
Yeah,
get
maybe.
cancer. And like, I just feel like maybe like that's too much money to give to one
much of a
person.
good thing.
And then you have to sacrifice something else.
Yeah.
Like for every good thing like that, you might your life might be cut short or something. 'Cause,
Sure.
like, how are you going to live with all that money?
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, I spent $2 today and I got a lottery ticket.
Oh, great.
But
Good
in
luck.
other news, this past weekend was like a lot of self-care for me. I did some yoga, I did laundry, I did a face mask, I watched a lot of Hallmark movies. I went to a goddess circle with Christina Weber, who is, like we mentioned, one of the hosts of a podcast on the Great Love Media Network. I watched the solar eclipse as well for like the briefest of moments because I feel like I had to participate because it was like what everyone was doing, and they were making a very big ordeal about the fact that it wasn't coming back for many, many years. I'm like, I've lived without it this long.
I know, exactly.
I feel like I would be just fine without it again, but it's fine. So I saw it for like 5 seconds and I moved on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I didn't win Powerball.
Okay. Well, there's always this next round and all the other times because you're addicted. So it's a numbers game.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, guys. And now we are going to pack up our emotional baggage. I'm sorry you have a broken heart, but pack it up because we're meeting our favorite celebrities in baggage claim. Buffy the Vampire Cheater. So, Kai Cole is Joss Whedon's ex-wife, and he is the famous screenwriter and creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She came out and was like, this guy claims that he's a feminist and he's always been like a woman's activist, like outwardly spoken, but I need to stop living this lie. Like, he was cheating on me. He admitted in a letter to me that he had been cheating on me for the entirety of our marriage.
Which was a 15-year marriage.
And I cannot stand by him supporting women when it feels like was like basically betraying and doing the opposite of that for our entire relationship. And I honestly just can't be quiet about it anymore. And I like that she did that.
Me too. It's like she said she was like freed because she actually finally spoke out. And she's like, enough giving him awards for his writing about feminism.
Right.
Enough saying he's like this great guy and putting him on a pedestal. He's not. She actually had PTSD from the divorce because she was like, I just lived a 15-year lie and I don't know how to put that back into my life. Like, how do I now reconfigure my image of what was?
And his reps were just like, well, we are sorry that she feels this way, but he will not be commenting because he wants to protect his ex-wife and his children.
Which is the high road, and also still, it's almost like admitting we're not going to go into it because it's going to get messy.
It's not the high road. It's claiming the high road so that you don't have to talk about it.
That's what I mean. But also not attacking her. But again, I think she actually says in this whole article about like how she was basically like a shill. Like she was like being a wife so that he can say, I have a wife. I could never be cheating. And it's like this scapegoat where he like had this whole life to say, well, I'm not a bad guy because look at my life.
And
it
you
was
know
an
what?
example.
I didn't take her being so like candid about it as an attack. It was more just like, this is the truth. I'm sick of living a lie, and this is the truth. It was very factual. It seemed like her quotes were like coming from emotion, but not not derived, like all about like, well, you know, filled more factual. Like, this was this, and this is wrong. 1 + 1 = 2, and I totally agree with.
Well, and he put into writing all of the truth, so she like basically read the truth out loud. Yeah. So there you go. And don't you just hate it, guys, when your boyfriend leaves you for another woman?
Yeah, it's rude.
It's so rude. But then they all come back. They do. So Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard have proven time and time again that they are the freaking cutest couple ever and totally meant to be.
So cute.
I mean, have you seen those commercials about their family? I can't
And
even
the washing
stand it.
machines and stuff. And you know what? Kristen Bell did what we always say to do. She just like said what she wanted at the beginning of their relationship. And yes, it's a risk, but she said, I am like really falling for you after they were dating for a little bit. And he was like, oh my God, I'm still dating other people. And she was like, said that she like crumbled to the floor, liquefied and crumbled to the floor. And he then a couple days later was like, what the fuck was I thinking? I'm so stupid.
It was like 4 days later. So
Yeah.
that was a really quick turnaround. I think that's like a really good time frame, guys. If you're listening, don't let things like simmer and fester. And a girl will literally lose her mind thinking of ways to either to kill you or trying to find out the information about the person you're seeing that's not her.
Yeah.
So skip all of that crazy stuff.
Exactly.
Just figure it out fast, come back, and make it right.
I know what's good.
Bring some like whining and dining.
I mean, she still teases him about it now. Like, remember when you broke up with me for that other woman, which isn't totally true, but you know, anyway.
But it is funny.
It is funny.
So
And
anyway.
now they're married with kids, so
Yeah, and they're the cutest. And also, they do say that it still takes work.
Yeah.
Even they say a marriage does take work. So
I like
it's-
that.
Yeah, me
Let's
too.
be real.
And they choose to be happy with each other than not be happy. Because what the hell is that?
yeah,
That's a choice.
agreed. Yeah, you guys, did you guys get whiplash when you were like looking through your social media feed? Because Miles Teller is engaged. I didn't even know he had a girlfriend.
Ugh, I did. And I was waiting for that to crash and burn. And now it's a real thing.
Oh, why are you making that noise? Do you not like either of them?
No, I love him.
I do too.
Love. That would be like my ideal guy.
So cute.
Because he's like cute, but not like super hot. Like
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, that guy's up to no good.
Yeah.
But he's so cute, talented, smart, tall, like funny
Totally.
guy.
Yeah.
He's like a John Cusack.
Yeah, I think he's better looking than John.
Oh,
Cusack.
agreed.
Yeah.
But like
yes.
he's like a younger John Cusack.
Yeah.
Which they should probably figure that out and do something together. But
They
anyway,
should.
so she is like a 24-year-old Instagram model.
Yeah, I was wondering who she was. Kelly, that spells her name like, and just Kelly, just spell it like that, but it's like Kelly.
Yeah, it's got like a G and an H just to be fancy.
yeah, stupid.
But so anyway, I thought that that was gonna like crash and burn, and that she probably just wanted to date him because he was famous. Because they started dating like years ago when he was actually like less attractive. Let's be honest, like like he got like in shape for certain movies and like
Well, they haven't they only been dating for like 4 years? That was like he
Yeah.
was still kind of coming up then.
Yeah,
but
but, like-
still, I know what you're saying.
yeah, he's
a
like
little different.
he's adjusted into his like fame at
Sure.
this point, and he like presents himself in a certain way, which is the way he looks now. But anyway, so she's been with him for like 4 years, and she's so young and Instagrammy.
yeah.
That I'm like, really? Is this a real?
Is it
this
a real
who
thing?
you want
Well,
to
he
marry?
says
I'm sure
he-
she's a fine person, but she's so Instagrammy.
Well, he
and
likes that
stuff.
she allowed him to be able to really focus on acting, and they FaceTime and she comes visits him. Well, I would assume that if you, and maybe I'm making a wrong assumption, if you don't have a job, then you can let your actor boyfriend do all of the things he's doing because you don't have any other time but to give to him or to post on Instagram.
Right. He actually says like her job is kind of like him. Like it's just like hanging out with
but
him.
Also, in all fairness, if that's the kind of thing that works, like my brother was in a relationship where he works as a really, really, really hard, demanding job that demands a lot of his time and energy, and his ex-girlfriend did not work. So it just didn't work because she wasn't the type of woman who was okay with him being busy and then being tired. She needed someone who was going to come home and like want to keep going because she had done not that same exerted amount of energy all day.
So she did nothing all day.
So yeah. So that didn't work for them. It depends on what you want, but if he's fine with her maybe wanting to like him to have some energy when he's home or not, and she's fine with him being tired or being busy, then great.
Great. Take your girlfriend to work day.
Or your fiance.
Right. And also that ring is gigantic.
Yeah, it is big.
It's
it is.
not my type of ring necessarily, but it's still large and in charge.
It is, yeah. And you guys, this week in reality TV land.
Oh, Bachelor in Paradise. Listen, I love that they're giving us 2 episodes a week because it's like the saga continues.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. And also, there's so many love triangles going on because, listen, you see that there's limited amounts of people there.
Sure.
It's like 8 girls and 11 guys at one time or vice versa. But so everyone wants the new person that comes in.
Sure.
And so they're fighting over like Raven. She's old news now. They're fighting over Danielle, who's goes by D-Lo.
I can't. They are, I mean, The Bachelor and The Bachelor in Paradise are, and I've always said this, the smartest social experiments ever. It's the women and men want to win because they want to beat each other. They do not want to really be with the dude. You just can't possibly be that in love. It's a competition, and this is the same way, but it's also the new school kid syndrome. Like the new kid is popular. It's the novelty's going to wear off on both shows. That's why nothing ever turns out. But everyone fucking falls for it.
Well, I fall for it because I think it's so fun.
You fall for it because it's
I'm
entertaining.
right. And I do kind of like wonder what I would be like in that scenario. I
would probably fall into the social experiment too. You can't help but assimilate to the situation and then be in it.
Exactly.
And everyone wants to find love.
Yes. And so also ABC has done a really good job of creating relationships that have worked, like Jade and Tanner, now married with child.
And Sean Lowe.
Right. And then also Carly and Evan, who no one thought would be, got married recently and just announced that they were pregnant.
Right.
And so, like, for people on the show to see that it has worked before, they're like...
Even if it's 1% of the time.
Right. They're so hopeful that the next one is going to be them. I mean, listen, I am too. I'm like, oh my God, Carly and Evan and a baby. Oh my. Like, I want
it's
to
real.
find that.
See, it can happen. And speaking of trying to find things, the Poor Housewives of New York are all so lost. Number 2 of the 3-part reunion just happened. And I feel really bad. Well, we know now that, and it just came out in the news, that Dennis and Bethany are back together because and then on the show, the reunion, she said, we had some things to deal with, my divorce and his divorce, and he needed some time, and now we're in a much better place and we can be together. So they're publicly back together now on both the show and in real life. Her divorce is sad. I feel bad for her. Luann, it's sad to watch her pretend that she's happy because we know the outcome.
Yeah.
And I'm so surprised that Carol is so indifferent about her and Adam. They're like, well, what do you think about Adam if he dates are you dating? And she's like, I wouldn't probably date other people, but maybe I would. And then they're like, what if he dated other women? She's like, I don't really think about it, but I probably wouldn't care. I'm like, okay.
I don't really get their dynamic, but maybe it comes with age and time and
and confidence, and maybe she's just not really looking for something super committal, so she isn't bothered by that.
Right. I mean, she's been married, you know, so like at this point she's probably like, well, I have my dogs, I have cats, and I have this guy.
All name baby.
Right. And I have a show, I have friends, I have traveling, and I have this guy that
she's busy.
Yeah, I feel like she seems like she probably has a full life, and to her, that's enough.
That's enough. I like Carol too. She's like the only normal one. All right, guys. But if Carol and Adam did break up, she could go on to the Belong dating app.
Yeah, where you belong, because if you want to find a real match and you want to get off the app with said match, they use artificial intelligence to do algorithms and all that sciencey stuff and figure out who would really be best together.
Yeah. And I love that their whole goal is to get you off the app. And they talk about it a lot. It's also a very fitting app to talk about because we're about to get Brian Howie in here. And he always says, get your head out of your apps. Yeah. I agree that this was a major problem with people on dating apps. They all complain. Like, I think they took a survey of 1,000 online daters, and they found that over half of the people were frustrated with flaky users that aren't serious, and then a little less than half were frustrated by the overload of unfit choices. So that combination gave them the fuel to say, like, we're going to make this happen in a scientific way or like in a calculated way, but then our goal is to ultimately get you off of the app, which...
But for the record, what they pull information-wise is like everything about you from the internet. So they're essentially stalking you to figure out what you tap, you double tap on, what you like, what your interests are based on like your social presence.
Just like when you're scrolling through Instagram and all of a sudden you get a Nordstrom ad, you're like, oh my God, you're watching me.
Right, it's true. And so this is how they do that. And you know what? At the end of the day, they're like your matchmaker because they are doing the research for you versus, if you meet with a matchmaker, they generally send you a questionnaire, you fill it out, or they talk to you, you answer some questions.
I think this is more accurate and more 100% current.
Because the matchmaker has their own opinions and they're just like someone's paying, so then there's like a bias side. But anyway, I think this is really interesting. But I also kind of wish that dating apps would just sort of figure it out. You need more filters. Like if you're saying that there are people that are unfit choices, well, let me decide who's fit for myself by adding more layers of filtering, not just sex, age range, location based.
Well, the problem is that becomes then the user's choice to pick an app that has filters and to actually fill out all of the questions that are given to you for the filter, because you can also go onto Hinge and only fill out 4% of the questions if you want.
Well, but like dating sites, like let's just say OkCupid has 100 questions that you should answer in order to get like a really like full profile where they then can match you with someone else that answered that many questions.
Right.
So if a dating site can do it, why won't a dating app put in some of those questions?
Maybe we need to pal up with Brian Howie and make a dating app.
Maybe we should, because
Hello.
Was that a segue?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Can you see yourself in the camera? I think, yeah, make sure you're centered in the camera, sir, so everyone can see you.
This is so high tech.
It is.
You act like you've never been here before.
But welcome back to the
Welcome
show
back.
for your
I know.
100th
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna pour you
haven't
some
been
green
able to
tea.
do any shows since I was not here. Right?
Yeah,
can't-
our
we-
life does not go on without you.
we can't do anything without you.
No.
You did some practice shows, I've
Right.
noticed.
Yes. Everything until you is practice. It's like my dating.
It is. It's all practice.
It is until I get to the one. Which, by the way, when the one shows up, I'm like ready. Hello.
You're ready.
I am.
How are you, ladies?
We are collectively great.
Hi, we're good. How are you, sir?
Good.
You're off work and you're really in it, like in being off.
I'm not off work. I'm off the road.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yes.
I have 30 days between live Great Love TEAbate shows, which I don't think I've had in almost 4 years.
That's insane.
How does it feel? Do you feel lost?
Well, I'm busy with, podcasting relating duties, but no, it's good. I should have done it a while ago. It was just a scheduling quirk, and now I have 30 days in between, and
What are
I
you
don't
doing with your time?
feel lost. Planning, plotting, reflecting, looking to 2018.
Wow.
Seeing what the road ahead is, evaluating what we've learned thus far.
Okay.
We used to say that our job was just to raise the questions, but after 275 shows in 81 cities and 62,000 people, like, we have the answers now,
Yeah.
and we're ready to sort of do something with those conclusions. And,
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's time.
we know where the bodies are buried out there. So
Do you know why everyone's still single?
yeah.
Why?
I
Tell
mean,
us.
you want a word or you want
However you
dissertation would be nice.
articulate
I
that.
mean, it all comes down to confidence and communication, but it's really fear-based. The women are afraid of being hurt, and the men are afraid of being rejected, and that has led to this disconnect where we cannot communicate online or offline in a natural,
'Cause no one's
healthy
being honest.
fashion.
No one's
Right.
being honest.
Yeah, we're too caught up in that, and I think that's one of the things I underestimated when we started Great Love TEAbate was how much pain and fear are in the men, and they don't process it as well as the women do, and they don't deal with it.
Well,
they don't
haven't-
express it, and
Yeah, they haven't been allowed to outwardly say, like, I'm emotional. It's not as accepted for them, and women may get made fun of and called, like, over emotional or whatever.
Or
but
you're just being a girl.
We're allowed to do it.
And the men might not even be aware of what triggered it. Jen, you might have just not even heard some guy try and say hi to you when he was 18 years old, and he's carrying that around for 20 years.
See
Of
what you
course I
did
did,
to
because
him?
I ignore people.
See what you did
Right.
to that poor
I've
guy.
ruined his life and probably many others. But you know what? I think, and I've been saying this on her show, that I think dating apps specifically was like the downfall of men, because now they see that there's actual competition. Before, they were like, I don't know, oblivious to the fact that women could date multiple men. They thought they were the only ones that could date multiple women. But now they're like, oh, wait, this goes both ways.
Well, I don't know about that, because we proceeded, and you've heard me say this ad infinitum, that the dating apps are just a reaction to the actual change, which is this blurring of the gender roles, which happened in the middle of 2 generations of people who were used to sort of dating one way, and then it sort of flipped on them. And so by not being able to handle that or process that, we are hiding behind the apps.
Sure.
We say get your head out of your apps and whatever, but you can't ignore that there are dating apps, and that is, you might as well fish in that pool too.
Sure.
But you have to understand why you're on the apps, and the reason we're all on the apps is because we have lost the ability to just sort of connect the way we used to. I mean,
would think we would all be on the apps because we wanted to find something, but that is incorrect, because nobody gets off the fucking app, which means you don't actually want what you are claiming you're there for.
Do you know what the determining factor, 15 years ago as to whether you met and whether you're going to go out with them was? Whether or not she had a pen. Or you had a pen to write down a number.
Yeah.
That was literally the standard, like, 1:30 in the morning. Hey, you're cute. Can I have a pen?
Yeah.
And then you wrote it down, and then you had to call, and you would pick her up, and you would go through this whole process that wasn't really terrible.
Yeah, but the thing about that is you actually met each other in person.
Yeah.
Now, like, I'm not out at that place at 1:30 in the morning.
You don't know anything about that guy that you met at 1:30 in the morning other than he was kind of cute and he had a pen. That's your screening process
Sure.
then. So
Yeah.
what you're like, oh, we met in person? What did you meet in person? A drunk version of them?
Either
Yeah.
way, it was still in person. Now I meet people on my couch because I don't leave my couch. So,
Yeah.
like, what would I do now? Let's say there were no dating apps. Where would I meet somebody?
You would know that there were no dating apps, so you would notice the people around you who were trying to communicate with you and trying to contact with you. We had somebody come to our
Valid point.
Great Love TEAbate show, and she shared an Uber pool with a guy. You know what Uber pool
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
And she couldn't wait to get out of the car to find him on Tinder to say hello. Like, rather than turn her head right, it was so unnatural to her to do that.
It is true. If you're depending on something, or not even depending, but you just know it's there, or even as a crutch, or even just for 2% of the time, you pay attention to other. It's just like this. I don't know anybody's fucking phone number anymore.
I don't
To
either.
get back to that, because it's in my phone, but
Yeah.
I could pay attention to that if I needed to, but I don't need to anymore because it's right here.
That was a problem I read in the LA Times. People getting arrested, they get one phone call. They don't know anybody's number.
No.
Yeah. Who would you? I can call my mom in Miami, who's 3 hours later.
Yeah.
But
You
like,
call my
They don't know
mom.
any
And
phone
then what?
numbers.
I know my friends' phone numbers from like second grade.
Yeah.
You should call them when you have an emergency.
So,
Yeah.
it is a different landscape, and traveling the country and the world over the last 3 years, like, you try and not just figure out what has changed, but you try and figure out why it's changed.
Yeah.
And, a lot of that has to do with we're unsure as men and women as what our real place is in society, and that trickles down to what is our real place in dating society. And that's tough.
You mean your real place as a man, or as a man?
As a
and
man
woman?
or as a woman, we hear all day long, I don't need a man. I'm an independent woman. I can pay my own way. I can do that. And you can, and that's wonderful. But he's like, I've said this before, that for generations, to use a basketball analogy, we were shooting at a 10-foot basket to get into your world. Now we're shooting at a 12-foot basket because you need us less. It's a harder bullseye to hit for the guy to find out, what does she need me for? How can I make her happy? How can I
Right.
succeed?
But I think the problem is that women saying I don't need anybody saying I don't need something. If you went into a job interview and we're like, yes, hi, I'm here for the job that I don't need, they would be like, fuck you, I'm not giving it to you.
Right.
So I think the problem is
Attitude.
saying you don't need it, and then also realizing that you're actually incorrect by saying that, because you don't need a man to pay your rent. But you might need a man for other things like love and affection.
Right, and
sex and other things. So don't say you don't need a man.
Or
And
you might want
he-
them, which
again-
is a choice also.
want,
so,
exactly.
Like,
Want
that's
is good,
a
but
lovely thing.
he also wants to feel needed. And sometimes people are like, well, that's needy. And I know. I mean, that's male insecurity on a
But
huge
that's what
level,
I'm saying.
too.
You can need somebody for other reasons or certain reasons, and not all the reasons. Like, you can need a man for things.
we
that,
want
walk my dog.
We want to
Yeah.
play hero. We want to kill your spiders.
oh,
Oh,
please,
please.
do.
Right.
All of them. And walk my dog and hang the thing. Take out the
So
trash. do
just the
dishes.
simplest task
housekeeper.
can go so far in increasing his confidence, which is, shaky at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what can we, let's just say, because we're women, do to build them back up? Men.
Well, again, I hear this all the time. You're blaming the women, or you. What I'm saying is the responsibility for the change is greater on the part of the women. The women have taken a full step
Yeah.
this way and gotten a little harder.
Yeah.
The men have taken a half step this way and gotten a little softer.
Agreed.
Both of those things are good on the surface and in the context of men and women overall. But we have to recognize that. The women have to recognize that, we used to be able to pick you up for a date, and that led to an air of chivalry.
Sure.
And him treating you well and drinking less because he had to drive you. And the women are like, I'm not letting some stranger to my house or know where I live. We know where you live as soon as I get your phone number. Okay? I know where you live in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And the true psycho is not going to, he could go out with you 3 times before he shows you're a psycho.
Right.
So you guys changed that. You changed
Yeah.
dating behavior. You changed the expectation.
Sure.
So when we're all online swiping and meeting, we're all putting each other in the friend zone. It's hangout. And if we're all collectively in the friend zone, we've taken the spark out of it, and that hurts
Totally.
dating.
I agree.
Yeah,
I have
there is no spark. I think that's what I'm having the most trouble with, is that I'm going on these like routine dates just to like go meet people, but I'm like, I don't feel anything for you.
And part of spark is just a chemical thing, and then part of it is the environment as well that we are all creating. And
When do you say
perpetuating.
you don't feel anything? In the first 5 minutes? When do you know you don't feel anything?
After the first date, and I'll even sometimes go on a second date if they didn't completely like creep me out and make me want to barf.
She gives them chances.
That's a reasonable bar.
Right. If you don't
No
make me
barfing.
physically
That's
ill.
fine. I
No.
didn't vomit. That's
Listen,
reasonable.
There have been times where I felt like I might like crawl out of my skin.
Yeah.
Or like I envisioned my body, like my soul leaving the date, but leaving my body there.
I would say
'Cause
that's
I was
a
like,
strong
yeah,
feeling.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So at that point, I'm like, this guy is not for me, but you can have my body. I'm going to leave. Spiritually,
She
I'm
didn't
leaving.
mean it like
But
that.
but
you
in your
cannot have my
journey of doing, you've been a couple years dating and trying apps and all this thing. Are you enjoying the dates more? Is your percentage of I like these guys better, or is it the same?
I think because I'm picking better. And I'm not going out with just everybody. Like I am sort of getting better at pinpointing who would potentially be a good match, at least on the surface.
Right, but is that you seeing things in them or knowing what you like or makes you feel good better?
Both.
Because maybe those same guys 2 years ago wouldn't have triggered whatever.
Totally.
it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
I mean, I think it's probably both. More me knowing me. And
It's
what
a combination,
I want.
yeah.
Because I have also matched with the same person twice now. Well, a couple times, like this has happened where I've matched with somebody like 2 years ago, maybe matched with them again more recently, and they're like, "Oh, hey, there you are," and I'm like, "Hello, now I'm ready for you."
Totally. And that I can totally relate to that. I don't know that 5-6 years ago when I was taking care of other people's children literally 15 hours a day, all day, every day, that if you had said, I know that I would have been fine with it because I am fine with it now, but I don't know that I would have been open to the idea of dating someone with a child.
Oh, I know.
Or excited about
I've
it.
heard these
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh, you wait and then you just find the one." Well, you might have met that one
Totally.
10 years ago or 2 years ago, and it wasn't the one then because you couldn't recognize it
Right.
or feel something in it. There's a whole lot of stuff. I've said this, I think, on this show before. It's not that you haven't met the right one; it's that you haven't been the right one. And that
Exactly.
takes doing some work. So you can, and you have done a lot of that. It's about preparing for these opportunities that the
Yes.
dates are. If you're just like, I'm going to go on a date, impress me, or we'll see if we click right away. Like, you have to set a foundation for success, just like sports.
I know a lot of
You
women
know?
who just expect everyone else to do the work, and it's like, you got to get beyond
And
that.
we don't mind doing the work. We just need to know what work we need to do because
Yeah.
you're all different.
I have a question for you. There was a recent Facebook post about you saying something about women having sex on the first date.
Yeah.
I didn't say women
Okay,
having
wait.
sex. Here's
Can
what
you-
I said.
can you
Talk
Okay.
about
There was
that
some
post.
statistics
I will.
or something.
I posted that if you surveyed everybody in America, if you surveyed all the happy couples in America, and it's their standard of if they're happy, and asked, when did you first have sex? The number one answer would be the first date. The number two answer would be the second date. The number three answer would be the third date. And coming in last would be the wedding night. Okay?
Because that's fucking
And
insane.
there's a
Very
couple
religious.
there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it meant that on some level you did hit it off. But what people tend to think is that I'm going to wait till we know each other better and then we'll have sex. I don't think you really know each other until you have sex. So at least
also,
there's a
do
willing
you really
of
know someone so much better after date number 2?
no, or
Listen.
3 or whatever. You can go. So again, it's not like go have sex on the first date and it's going to work out. I'm saying it may help. It won't hurt. And if you're waiting just for the sake of waiting till you find something out, it won't help and it may hurt. Because guys will wait. We'll wait 2-3 months. It doesn't mean
Really?
we like you. Absolutely. Because eventually there's an ROI. There's a return on
Yeah.
investment. Like, I've spent 3 dinners. I have to see this through till I get something.
Yeah.
So if you think that, well, he must be a
That's
gentleman
not
or
like
whatever.
your ultimate goal is just to have sex, but you're saying to see how if you have the chemistry when you say
Right.
something.
And if you have the
that's what you
chemistry,
mean.
that's something. And if you have sex with him and he doesn't call you the next day, no matter how long you waited, that wasn't going to work
it
anyway.
wasn't going to work anyway. I agree.
So
That's
this
your
goes into this
whole
this concept that I came up with, that people are like, it's when do you decide if you know you're in a relationship? And people are like, it's 30 days, it's 4 dates or whatever.
How can that be
It's
quantified?
That's not-
here's the quantifier: 100 hours.
Brian,
if you
This is
spend,
like a Steve
I'm
Harvey
sorry.
thing.
I'm going to tell you. Let me explain this.
No.
So she does
After
90 days.
100 hours of time, and that could be texting after hour, you at least have enough information about the person to decide: do I want to be in a relationship with this person?
I hear what you're saying. That doesn't mean after 100 hours equals relationship.
No.
That
It means you have
good-
enough
yeah.
information,
Yeah.
and so you can spend 100 hours in 4 wild days or spread that out. So
Sure.
it's not about 4 dates. Well, 4 dates could take 3 months.
It's-
It could
Right.
take a week. So
yeah.
so if you say generally about 100 hours, and that counts. You went on a date, you went on a second date, you texted, you called. That all sort of adds up. If you do the
100 hours
math
like
on that,
communication.
It's like
100 hours, then you have the information. Do I want to be in a relationship with this person, which has nothing to do with sex?
No,
you know,
Right, it's just time
It's
spent.
about relationship stuff, though. When you want to have sex,
But I
because the
think-
relationship changes after sex.
And I think what you're saying is don't wait to have sex just for the sake of waiting.
Yeah, it's not a referendum or
I
reward.
agree.
You won't because we both change. I ask women this all the time. How many of you have waited 4 months to have sex with a guy until you were absolutely sure, and then you had sex with him and the sex sucked and you're out of there, and every hand goes up. So
Or-
you're not so committed either.
Exactly. I agree. So I think there was some people that were up in arms about that, but I think that
Survey your friends, people up in arms. Ask your friends who are in relationships when they had sex.
No. I'm just saying.
The number one answer will be first night.
For people that
Lauren,
hi, that's
first
you.
night?
Yeah.
That's very slutty. I love that.
I know,
Excellent.
I'm
Very
super
slut.
slut.
I
right
know,
here.
because then you can be yourselves.
I have gone on dates where I haven't had sex on the first night. I have gone on
that's
dates
nice.
where I have. I'm just saying I don't do it because I think that I should or shouldn't. I do what I want to do.
And I think that's actually
I don't
what
really care.
is the most important thing, because I think if you are waiting a certain amount of time, you're doing something because of some certain outcome you think is going to happen, or what the rule is, or how it's going to make him feel about you or view you or whatever it is. It's like too much thought. If you feel comfortable doing it, great.
Well-
I personally wouldn't, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a stranger touching me. I don't know you. To me, you're a stranger.
Sometimes I feel that way on
Yeah.
dates. I don't want you touching me.
Different.
Yeah. So for me,
That's germaphobe.
No, it's not even like it's like I don't know like anything. I know you're just a new person. Like it's different if it's a friend or like somebody that
So
I've
friends
known
can
for
touch
a
you.
while.
Well, in all fairness, I did know my boyfriend for a while before we went on our first date.
So there was a familiarity there,
But I
like-
have also had sex with people that I didn't. We all have that I didn't
Sure.
know. I don't feel like in that moment I didn't know. For me personally,
You're right. You do it whenever you're comfortable, but if you're thinking it's either a reward for him waiting
Right,
or
yes.
a referendum
You're
on how
wrong.
he or she feels about you, you're nuts, and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. And you're going to get much more hurt.
I
Right.
agree. Just on a smaller scale, like waiting to text somebody or wait, you are not controlling the outcome, honey. It's not going to make them like you or more or less. Just do what you want. Because at the end of the day, I hate when women say like, I don't want to, I'm speaking for women, but I hate when women say, I don't want to have sex with him right away because then I'm just giving him everything he wants. And I'm like, but what about you?
It should never be
Right.
given or taken, A.
Yeah.
And B, a lot of women, some of the people who responded to the post were like, if she does that with you, she does that with everybody. No, I'm awesome. Just because she does that with me doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I'm like, good for me.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing
But
to
everybody
assume.
has a past also. So
Yeah.
maybe 50% of the time she does do that and 50% of the time she doesn't.
Anything anybody did in the past is irrelevant.
Right.
What they did in the past, who cares?
That's my-
like.
yeah.
I don't even you can't judge that. Maybe she had a boyfriend for 8 years and she had sex with that guy 55,000 times. That's not better.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's apples
and if
and
she's
oranges.
good looking, I brought up a stat that freaked people out.
Oh, good. What is it?
If Jen got asked out, we're gonna use Jen. Jen's pretty.
Thank you.
You got asked out by.
Did you notice I'm wearing pink?
It's pinkish. It's pink
it's not
adjacent.
black.
It's salmon.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I knew there was going to be some
It's
kind
not
of
quite pink.
discrepancy
Okay.
anyway.
Brian,
If Jen gets asked out by 500 guys, because she would get asked out by 500, and she sleeps with 30 of them, that's 6%. That's very low.
Yeah.
If a girl gets asked out by 8 guys and has sex with 2 of them, that's 25%. Who's more promiscuous? The one whose chances of opportunities and versus how many times she does is actually lower? Comparatively, she's actually a bit of a prude.
Totally.
That's the way I look at it.
I agree.
The good ones are in demand.
I don't really think any of it matters. Like, if you are putting a judgment on it, that's your own fucking thing, problem.
Right.
I don't have
Go
a
to
problem
therapy.
with having sex or not having sex. I either do it or I don't. There was a time in my life where I didn't feel comfortable having sex. I would take forever, but that's because that's where I was then.
Right.
It's different for me now. I was single for a really long time. I realized it wasn't as precious as I thought it was, and I started paying attention to it not just being about other people. If sex for you is like, I'm not giving that to you yet, well then that's maybe what sex is for you. You giving something to somebody and you get no pleasure out of it. Then I could see why you would think that.
Sex does change things. So whatever you think your norm is, and we're in this and we're monogamous and committed, it's going to change it maybe better. Probably better.
Yeah.
But it might not. So if you think, well, now we're safe together, let's do it now, you're deluding yourself.
Totally.
Oh, safe. That's a nice word.
Well, just
Yeah.
make sure also when you're doing these
Just
sex
get some
things,
Purell.
and
Jen.
also condoms.
No, it's just like I have now at this point my routine, my habits, my dog. Like, I don't want someone in my space. I don't want them like in my bed, like roll over.
Do you
don't breathe
more
on
likely
me.
to take your show on the road or home court advantage?
Well, I have a dog, so I also can't like take it on the road unless I like do that and then leave. But I'm not sleeping there.
That's a foolproof
It also
way to get out of it.
It also
100%.
depends.
I got to
on-
take my dog out.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I've had guys offer to come home with me, walk my dog.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, I made the mistake of having that happen like a couple times, and then I'm like, okay, shoo shoo, and they were like, I
Yeah.
don't. First of all, I feel like with a girl, you never like you don't misunderstand something. Like if I say I'm going to walk my dog, you can come walk my dog with me. Those are the words that I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't mean you can come do sex with me, or I would have said you can come have sex.
Are
with
you
me.
old enough to remember? I can't. I got to go home because I got to take my contacts out.
Of course.
I bought the whole Bausch and Lomb kit just to get around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I have. They're like, oh no. But the dog, you can't get out of the dog.
Yeah, because
No.
you can't.
You
be
can't seem like a dog
I have your
hater.
dog
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I fetched it.
Yeah.
And it's waiting for you. But yeah, so no, I just don't want somebody like in my routine until I know them. I like them. I know their sleep habits.
That's
They're
fair.
A super hot 25-year-old
That's totally.
playing a doctor on TV that had curly hair that would fall in his eyes.
Sure.
That's fair.
Then you
but
would
that's not
change.
about the relationship. That's about your personal habits and
Exactly.
routine and
Yeah.
preferences. So
Yeah.
that is different.
And know
that.
thyself, because
And-
I know thyself.
Exactly.
Myself,
That's what
and-
she wants. It's not
Yeah.
like, well, I'm
This is-
only doing this because I'm making them
Yeah.
wait till
No.
date number 3. Like,
Right.
Trust me, if you and you not trust me, you know this. If you went on a date with a guy and you totally hit it off and he was super hot and all the things were happening, you would totally have sex.
Maybe.
Yes.
Or maybe not.
Yes, she would.
She might, guys. She might.
No, she wouldn't. Just kidding.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Like,
It's still Jeremy.
It's still Jeremy. Okay, so you tour around the nation and sometimes outside of the nation
Yeah.
with the Great Love TEAbate.
Yeah.
And then you have your show, and now you have Great Love Media.
Yes.
So we talked about it a little bit, but why did you decide that you needed to like make a whole network? It was just too much info? You needed
I think there's a lot of ways to sort of slice this apple. And, we sort of think that, on sort of the micro level, the dating relationship space and then the personal growth space and the self-improvement space, there's a lot of voices and personalities that we've come in contact with that we're like, this fits our brand. Our audience needs more voices like this. And we decided, because we've been a part of a lot of podcast and media networks where we're like, I don't quite fit with Snooki's show, which we did, or I didn't fit
Yeah.
with Larry King, or we were part of Adam Carolla's network for a while, which was awesome, but it wasn't quite our audience. So we're like, let's see if under our umbrella we can, find some personalities and some shows and sort of grow each other's audiences and our messages and see where we can take that. And it's been good. I mean, sort
and
of
I feel like
raised all
that's
the
exactly
boats.
what you did too. Like everybody's a little bit different, but sort of.
I mean, I have my way, and we do our show a certain way of doing it. I'm sort of infotainment.
Yeah.
We're sort of entertainment, but there's a lot of information that come out. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Lifetime, they say their programming is for women, but all the shows, sometimes they have crazy movies and sometimes they have Golden Girls reruns.
That's
whatever.
true.
But so our audience was hungry for more ways to have the conversations that we like to have. We're sort of talking about the same stuff, but when I come on your show, it's different from when you come on my show.
Totally.
Totally.
And there's advantages to people be able to cast that net out and pick and choose the ones that it's like dating. It's podcast dating that people can do.
Oh
and you
my
can
God.
try on different things.
That
you know?
is what it is.
Try
You
some,
always-
try all.
You are just you always have something really genius to say.
You're really
Most
good
of the
at
time you say
analogies.
something that annoys me, and then you also say things that make me like really. It's like
Like my
you're
salmonish
like
dress.
dating too. Like I love my boyfriend so much, and then sometimes I fucking.
That's love. That's life.
Oh yeah, no. The other day I said something to him, and he went, "Oh," out loud. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, and then like a minute later, he was like, "I said something really nice."
That's
Oh,
a
God.
That's a learning moment.
I annoy you so much.
Yeah.
I do. I annoy
But
him.
I feel like
so
that's
much.
when you're really comfortable with each other, is when you can be yourself.
Outwardly
And
made a
also
noise
it's
and put his hand.
unconditional.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so content is king, and so the more ways we can produce content that we think enlightens and engages and empowers and entertains. That was very alliterative, assonant.
We need
I think
to,
that's the word.
We need to quote make that a tagline.
Yeah,
too.
I mean that's what we're
already forgot it.
trying to do. Enlighten, empower, engage, entertain.
All the
Okay?
E's.
I love it.
And so if we have personalities and subject matter and show formats that will do that, we're continually going to try and grow that.
So you said you've gotten now you've asked questions and now you have answers. But what is some enlightening content that you found through your touring or now through your new podcast and all the shows you have on there? What is some information you have found that has fucking surprised you? Like what sticks out in that new step you're taking?
Well, when we first, I might seem naive to do this. I wasn't as familiar with the love languages.
Okay.
And I was shocked to find out how many women don't know what 85% of men's love language is.
Oh my God, I don't know.
What
is
is it? Tell us. I
All
can
women
guess it.
guess the same, and all women are wrong.
Signs of affection.
No, that's what women, or physical touch. That's what women say. It's words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
because
want to be like
The men don't. The men only are trying to touch because we don't know you like us. If you say I like you, settle down, we're good.
Okay.
And I think that this was something that I wasn't even aware of, and I'm a guy.
Wait, though. So you're saying men
Men-
look, they want
the words of affirmation,
They
and they-
want your partner to have the love language of words of affirmation because that is the language I speak, but that's not necessarily what I give, what I want from the man.
No. What you want from the men, the women want the quality time, and you want those things.
I want
I
words
want
of
words.
I want words of affirmation, and I give words.
Well,
of
a lot
affirmation.
of women are like actions over words.
I want
The
words
men
first.
really
Yeah.
do overwhelmingly seek the words from the women, and they don't get the words. The women are like, he could tell. He knows.
Oh,
He doesn't
I give
know.
the words.
They want to hear it every day. And so women, because that is such a fundamental disconnect in the languages we speak and the languages we hear, that was something that I really had no idea. And I learned it myself.
So you want words of affirmation?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Oh my
absolutely.
God, I think I probably annoy my boyfriend.
Yeah. And you know what?
With words like when it's actually pretty funny. I'm
we-
saying something very personal right now, but when we wake up in the morning, I look at him and go, and he goes, "What?" I go, "How did you do it?" And he's like, "What?" He knows, and I go, "You got more handsome overnight." He's like,
Yeah.
I can't. It's real. I can't help it. He like plays this game with me, but it's really how I feel.
Because
I
we
swear.
tell you guys are beautiful every day of your lives. We hear it like 4 times a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we don't hear it. We think you think we're gross. So we don't get it. So
Some
you're
guys know they're not gross.
No.
and they have
so it's
bigger issues.
appreciative.
Yeah, that's true.
We like appreciation. We like respect. We like all those kind of things. And women, because they don't know that is what the men really want, they think it's touch and they think they just want to be
Right,
laid
right.
and whatever.
Well, also, I
But
think
it's-
women generally feel if we say too much, we're revealing we like somebody too much, and then
That's
we're being
that thing.
too vulnerable.
Too desperate. That's
you
the
heard that
thing.
from other women.
Yes,
I
that's
was also one of them once.
No,
now
we
I am
all
a
were.
different version of her.
We are all the girl who's scared to text back too fast because it makes you look desperate. It's all different forms of that.
I only, people are like, what do you need in a woman in a relationship? That she likes me.
Yeah.
If I know that, and she's not afraid to express that,
Yeah.
that frees up a whole lot of Brian
I
Howie.
agree. I
Which
agree.
could be good or bad.
So you got to be. We just talked about this with Dak Shepard and what's her name, the
Kristen
wife.
Bell.
That she,
The wife.
She right away said, "This is how I feel," and she took a risk. But I think it was, and even if how you feel is, I don't like you. Just be.
You know when
talk
their
about how you feel.
relationship really got together, though?
What?
When they were both able to own their fuck upness. That they were, neither one was any longer afraid to say, I'm flawed, I'm damaged, I need help, I do that. That's such a safe bonding thing. I'm going to throw all my fucked up chips on the table, and are you going to meet me there? And that's, a much bigger step than, I think you're cute too.
Totally. It's bigger and deeper than that. Okay, so since Jen, actually, I'm going to give her credit for this one.
Thank you.
She calls you our fairy podfather, which I think is so cute.
Oh, that is cute.
Right?
It's because she's wearing pink. She thinks of these things.
Finally, we all agree it's pink.
It's pinkish.
Well, it's not black. What's the point?
Exactly.
Progress.
I did this for you.
I know, and it looks wonderful.
And look at the
You're glowing. There's no black. Black's funeral clothing.
I love
depressing.
black. I love all black.
I know all women love black because you do look good in it, but we don't notice you in it.
Right.
Go walk down the street in that dress, Jen. You'll never be online
the
again.
The dress is a little tight, so
Look
I think it's that.
I wore all the bright colors for you today.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
white and
Progress.
black.
If you're gonna wear black, wrap some bumblebee yellow around it,
Ew.
like
Cute.
the AfterBuzz
Just like the
TEAbate.
AfterBuzz
But,
TV
you
symbol.
can't wear that.
No, I mean,
You
I don't
can't?
think you should. What? Okay, so since you can, but it's maybe not super cute.
We'll notice
Maybe
the
you
bumblebee
shouldn't.
girl.
That's true. Since you are a fairy podfather, you give great advice. What is sticking out for you that's advice that you need to give to Jen right now?
Yeah.
Personal advice or podcasting advice?
No, personal.
Personal.
Well, she took my last advice, is to wear brighter colors, is to keep building on the hope that you have found in the last 2 years. When I met you, I think almost 3 years ago, you were like, ew, dating sucks. So I just didn't want any part of it. Then the more you started to talk about it, it was very helpful to you. Me too. The more I had these conversations, the more I realized what was preventing me from finding any success. So keep having conversations about it. Keep asking questions, because the questions that you ask, the answers you get, they're going to help you more than they're about the person. So be curious.
Okay. What's your advice for me?
Keep the same thing, but on a specific level with your partner. Keep getting to know your partner. Keep asking questions. Keep asking questions about what was your favorite band when you were 12.
Oh.
Who did you like? I've asked you this question. Who was your crush? Ask questions about their time before you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about the relationships, about what they were like. Because
Who they were, yeah.
Who they were. You will learn so much about. One of our podcast sponsors is Storyworth, and what they do is they send questions designed to, you basically write your family history and then they put it out in a little book, and it's such a wonderful exercise to look back and think, because the more we learn about who you were, really helps us understand who you are and where we're going to be together. It's a really good exercise to ask, not just, there's a lot of check-in questions. How are we? What are we doing? Whatever, about like, what were you like at 17? Or what was your favorite this or that? It will really help bond you guys. And it's fun. It can be really fun.
I like that.
I remember being in love with one of my ex-boyfriends and thinking all the time I missed so many years with you. What were you doing before me? I want to know everything. You're my person, but I missed all these years.
Yeah.
That's true. It's like they were incarcerated in a different life.
What was
fill
that
me
like?
in, give me the cliff
I
notes.
just threw a big 40th birthday party for my boyfriend, so I was able to really even physically see. His mom gave me a stack of pictures like this big, and it was like a session of that. What was this? Ooh, where were you? What were you? Who's that? And it was
It's
fun.
so fun to look the first person you're dating, and then either the mom says, "You want to see some pictures of?"
Oh yeah.
Want to see how my mom would be like? You want to see how fat Brian was at 14? That's what they'll do. So getting to know each other outside of each other and before each other is a really valuable exercise.
Plus, people really like talking about themselves. So.
They do. True story.
So we're gonna play a game with you.
Okay.
As we do, and as we mentioned, you are our fairy podfather.
Okay.
But you also sprinkle your information, fairy dust, to your listeners on your podcast, your live shows, and all of that, trying to help people figure out why we are all still single.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
So,
but what about the people who are in relationships? And they want to stay there. We want, like you just said, we want advice. We want to, know what you think about these situations that may come up in relationships. And we want your opinion. So if you think that this situation that we bring up is something that can be overlooked, don't worry about that. You say Bibbidy Bobbidy. And if you think the situation we bring up is a red flag and oh my God, no, you say boo. because
Okay, bibbity boppity.
for like, nah,
Boo.
that's okay, or boo, no,
Okay,
that's
bibbity
bad.
boppity good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's our spin on the Cinderella classic phrase, Bibbidi Bobbidy Boo. So we're going to play this game with you. Okay, so if your partner turns over their cell phone when they get a phone call or a text message, they're like, put it away. What do you think about that?
Bibbity bobbity means they're not going to deal with it right now. And
No,
No,
meaning
it
like
means
if
hiding
someone
it?
is
That bad of a
constantly, they're getting text messages and they're with you and they're constantly doing this.
Is it like something you can ignore and it's fine,
Or
bibbidi bobbidi?
is it a red
or is it
flag? Like, why are
boo?
you hiding your cell phone, or what is the deal?
I mean, there's either or. It's either they're trying to sneak their phone because they're it could be business, or they're like, I have my wife here and
So,
you're
yeah,
my
I guess it
girlfriend.
depends on why
I
they're
know,
doing it.
sorry.
Yeah.
I need an
Okay.
extra.
I think
It's
I
bippity
kind of-
boppity and boo. You guys instantly think that's a boo, and I'm looking at like, well, I think I've done that, and it's not necessarily a boo.
I'm saying like all the time, but okay, yes. I see what
would
you're
go
saying.
boo on that.
Me too.
This
Okay.
is not about me, but I'm just saying.
All right.
Okay. What about when someone who goes from relationship to relationship? So like you're with them now, but like 5 seconds ago they were just with somebody else.
And
Is
they're
it
always, always, always in a relationship.
serial relationship person.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Speaking as one of those people, bippity.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like that's it. Okay,
It's
fine.
not a good thing if it's a good thing for them.
Yeah. Okay. That's
You
true.
know, you kind of have to ask the why. It's not just a red flag. I'm a green lights person. I'm not a
Okay.
red flag person.
Okay. Fair. What about if
You know.
someone has cheated in a previous relationship?
That might have been about that relationship.
Okay.
I'm sorry. These are
Fine,
not.
then that's
These
okay.
are
Okay,
very.
all right, okay.
You know.
Okay. Fine. Maybe we'll get.
And I don't believe like once a cheater, always a cheater.
a
No,
cheater.
that's not true,
Okay.
and that's bad.
Fine,
So
then
then bibbity.
bobbity.
Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Say the words.
Bippity,
Play
bippity.
our fucking
I'm
game.
trying to, but
The
you
point
need a
was to
third
make
choice.
you say weird shit.
I know.
Say bibbity bobbity.
Bibbity boppity.
Thank you.
Jess.
This is gonna keep going. So
Okay,
keep up.
I'll go until I need a good question that I can give.
Oh, you-
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
All right. How about a girl who has little to no girlfriends, unlike us?
Bippity.
Why?
Bippity boppity. I don't fucking
No.
care. She's with me.
What if she is the C word followed by UNT?
There's a reason why she has no girlfriends, and that's because she can't be trusted.
Girls suck to other girls.
no,
No.
they don't actually.
That's
A lot
why
of 'em do.
That girl sucks to other girls, which is why she has no fucking girlfriends.
but
That's my
everybody
point.
else.
Listen,
we have
I'm
so many.
fine with
We have
me
all
and
the
I'm
girlfriends.
fine with me and her on
Brian,
the moon.
Fine. Bibbity bobbity.
Bibbity bobbity.
Fine.
Boo to you.
What if I know what you're gonna say? What if someone's like, no, I'm not a dog person.
Boo.
Yeah.
Finally, an
Hello.
answer we approve of.
There we go.
Never trust a person who doesn't like a dog, but always trust a dog who doesn't like a person.
Well,
agreed.
Mochi doesn't like a lot of
She
people.
growled at you, by the way. So
Yeah. Okay.
okay. What about someone who doesn't drink?
Bippity boppity.
That's no fun. I say boo to that because I think then if you have something that you can't do, it's extreme, and anything extreme is a problem.
It's challenging,
Same
but I've
piece.
dated vegans, so what am I supposed to? You know, it's
I'd
harder.
rather date a vegan than
Same.
a person who doesn't drink.
There's
on
like
the list
animals
of
involved
okay,
in that one,
but
so.
the amount of time that you're if you're in a relationship, the amount of time that you're actually drinking shouldn't be that much that you're
Ooh,
eliminating
there's
it.
7 days a week.
I know. No, I'm fine.
We're drinking
Not
now.
only I know
It's
you
10
are.
on a
I'm
Thursday.
fine to never have a drink again, and that's somebody who spent a lifetime drinking.
Oh God, I could never do
I'm
that.
fine.
No, see, I think that it's a lifestyle choice, and so
Yeah.
if you're,
I gave up
preference is
Diet
fun-
Coke. I can certainly give up vodka.
Okay, fine. But like if I personally love a good glass of wine with dinner, or like watching a movie and sharing a nice bottle of wine, or going wine tasting, and that's like a vacation.
Yeah, most
choice.
people like it.
So, but there are people that don't. For me, we would not have fun in the same way, or we wouldn't want to spend our
I
time.
agree.
Like if
It
I
is
wanted to
hard when
go-
one person drinks and one person
Right.
doesn't.
That's what
Very
I'm
hard.
saying.
Especially if you're drinking because you enjoy it versus you're drinking to get drunk
Oh
and you have
no,
problems.
of course.
Well, there's nothing worse than she's not drinking and he wants 4 beers and she has to drive all the time,
that's-
Yeah,
or
wants
she's
to
drunk or
take
whatever.
care of somebody else.
It is easier to just like to a media meat eater and a vegan is a huge challenge.
Right.
A drinker and a non-drinker is a huge challenge.
But it can be overcome.
It also depends on the reason they're not drinking.
Yes.
Sure.
If they had a problem, good. If they're just like, I can't process alcohol in my body, doesn't mean you can't date them.
That's true.
Right. If they have an allergy or like some health issue,
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
Okay, fine.
Last
whatever.
one.
Bibbidy Bobbidy Boo.
Oh,
Right.
no, just Bibbidy Bobbidy.
Oh.
Okay. How about someone who has roommates and is older than 35?
Boo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will end on that
Unless
note.
they're in 3 Men and a
No.
Baby.
No.
There's no unless.
Never,
Boo.
no.
Boo.
Boo. Boo.
Is that a
Boo.
thing?
Yeah.
An old school fraternity kind of thing?
Who knows? Could be.
Boo.
I've
I
met
mean,
guys with roommates,
you will be
and I'm like,
surprised.
that's a for sure boo.
Yeah, they
Gotta
might be
go.
filming you.
Gotta go.
Ugh.
All right. Brian, thank you so much for coming in again. Remind everybody where they can find all of the things.
All the things. Go to greatlovedebate.com. You will see our live tour schedule. We're coming to a lot of fun places with live shows: Seattle, Vegas, Israel, New York,
Cool.
Wow.
LA, or whatever. Subscribe to our podcast at greatlovedebate.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And Great Love Media, you can find our podcast, your podcast, and we've got podcasts by Pat O'Brien and Tatum O'Neill and a bunch of people who've been on this show before. Christina Weber, James Michael Sama, a lot of your favorite voices.
Krista
and
Allen, yeah.
personality. Krista Allen.
Right.
All the friends.
All the
right.
friends.
Well, thank you again so much
Yeah.
for coming in. And don't forget to tune in next week. We have Defy Media and TV host Jocelyn Davis coming in. And follow us on Complicated Show on all the socials.
You should do that. And also don't forget to tell a friend about our show and obviously the lineup we've been talking about, because it's great and you will continue to learn from everybody. Where can people follow you?
You can follow me at Lauren Leonelli on all of the socials.
And you can follow me at Jennifer Golden. That's Jennifer with one N and one F on
And-
all of the socials.
And we are going to leave you with a quote from Walt Disney, because it's fitting, Cinderella and Fairy Podfather. The more you are in the state of gratitude, the more you will attract things to be grateful for.
I
So
would like to include one
hopeful.
more.
Hopeful.
Yes, one more also from the fairy godmother herself of Cinderella. Even miracles take a little time, which is
They
why
do.
I've been single for a couple
Patience
years.
and hope. Patience and hope. All right, that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening and watching, and we'll see you next week. Love you a long time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.